All ready down here?
Ready, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, they're ready.
All right. I'd like to call the Board of Supervisors to order. As always, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. We do have a quorum. We do need to adopt an agenda. Anybody have anything we need to add to the agenda?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody? What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. As always, let's start with public comment.
May I?
Please
All right, this is my.
go to the microphone so everybody can hear you that's watching online, like the one person.
They can hear me.
Dave,
Can
yeah.
you hear me, Jonathan? Thank you. All right, my theme tonight is inflation. And this is USA Today from Monday, the 21st. Not my favorite paper.
It's not good.
Better service than the Postal Service. Every day that guy shows up at 6. Between 73 and 1982, the annual inflation rate never fell below 5.8%. In 4 of those years, it exceeded 10%. I remember buying a 10-year government bond for 12%. A far cry from the 3% annual inflation rate on average since 1926. So, Clay, what's for dinner tonight? Beef?
Yes.
Okay, Jim Jewett, what do? Soybeans and corn? Maybe you guys could spend a couple of minutes talking about inflation, how it inflects or affects fertilizer, cattle prices. My wife really would like to know why beef stew meat costs more than sirloin steak. I'd like to know, Jim, your experience, soybeans and corn, with fertilizer, parts, machinery, that kind of thing. Because what this all ties into is when you guys do this budget, I want to know if you're really thinking about inflation and the cost. And that's it.
All right. Thank you, Joe May. Other public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Marie Durr, chairperson for Board of Supervisors of Greene County. Greene County is asking Madison County to take appropriate action to complete Greene County's fair and equitable withdrawal from RSA. Greene County is here tonight to call upon Madison County to direct your appointees to the RSA Board of Members to proceed promptly with Greene County's withdrawal from the RSA on fair and equitable terms. At its regular meeting on April the 13th, 2021, the Orange County Board of Supervisors adopted its resolution of unanimous consent to withdrawal of Greene County from Rapidan Service Authority. In that resolution, the Orange County Board of Supervisors expressly stated its support for the process to move forward for Greene County to be separated from RSA. At its regular meeting on April the 13th, 2021, the Madison County Board of Supervisors unanimously adopted the resolution of consent to Greene County's withdrawal from the Rapidan Service Authority. In May of 2021, Madison County and Orange County approved and signed a memorandum of agreement concerning the future of the Rapidan Service Authority Board representation, voting, governance, service fees, and stability following Greene County's withdrawal in that document. Madison and Orange County acknowledge that Greene County is able to comply with all legal requirements to withdraw from the RSA. Following these actions, the RSA Board of Members has failed to proceed with the Greene County's withdrawal from the RSA. More specifically, Your appointees to the RSA Board of Members has not taken action to either advance the withdrawal process or to hold the RSA staff accountable for their lack of progress with Greene County's withdrawal from RSA. The RSA Board and the RSA staff continue to impede Greene County's fair and equitable withdrawal from RSA. RSA picked a fight with Greene County in July of 2020. Reluctantly, Greene County had to take RSA, Orange, and Madison to court. Madison County has asked Greene County to end the litigation. Greene County looks forward to ending our litigation as soon as our withdrawal from RSA is complete. As the litigation has continued, every one of the court's decisions to date have been in favor of Greene County. Greene anticipates a substantial monetary judgment against the RSA for breach of contract. Pardon. Greene County will ask the court to declare that RSA acted abruptly and capriciously. The parties also tried mediation of our dispute, but the RSA made unreasonable demands and mediation has failed. Madison County approved the RSA unreasonable position. The RSA is not functioning. It cannot function as long as this dispute continues. This dispute damages the services provided to Greene County customers. Customers in Orange and Madison will also be damaged. It seems like not a week goes by without RSA issuing some sort of customer service disruption notification in Orange County, Greene County, or both. RSA looks to be stretched thin, and this cannot be good for RSA services in Madison. There's no benefit to Madison County from this continuing dispute. So we have come to ask Madison County to treat Greene County and our withdrawal from RSA the same way that you would hope and expect to be treated if your county were the one withdrawing from RSA. We have come to ask you to treat us fairly as a sister county and as a neighbor. Greene County RSA customers and Greene County taxpayers have paid more than $30 million for water and sewer infrastructure in our county that is operated by the RSA. Only $154,000 in RSA debt is allocated to Greene. RSA has accumulated a surplus of more than $10 million, and money paid by Greene County RSA customers is a significant part of their surplus. Equity compels the transfer of Greene County water and sewer infrastructure to Greene County as part of the pending process. Greene County calls upon Madison County to direct your appointees to the RSA Board of Members to proceed promptly with Greene County's withdrawal of the RSA fair and equitable rights. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Dale Harum, the at-large supervisor for the County of Greene. First off, let me say thanks for allowing me to speak. Also, I do respect each and every one of you. Sitting in those chairs and sitting in the chair of Greene County, I know what you're faced with on a day-to-day basis. I think a lot of people don't quite understand that. So first off, Greene County and Madison County are neighbors. We share a long boundary. We have many similar needs. In fact, your agenda, I laughed at that tonight coming here, it's very similar to ours. We are working together successfully on a new emergency radio system. Greene County wants to keep a positive working relationship with Madison County. Greene County is asking for some understanding and cooperation from Madison County and from Madison County RSA representatives so that our withdrawal from RSA can be completed. RSA has fallen to dysfunction. RSA lawyer told Greene County Circuit Court Judge Worrell in January that RSA will never enter into another contract with Greene County to allow us to approve anything. To us, this is a declaration that RSA is permanently broken. Greene County must leave the RSA. The dispute will continue until Greene County is separated from RSA on fair terms. As soon as we have a fair withdrawal, the dispute will be over. Greene County is not the holdup. We would be out of RSA already if not for RSA's unreasonable positions and its actions to put obstacles in our way. RSA has lost all 7 times it has been in court with Greene County. RSA has lost at every step of the litigation because their positions are unreasonable. The RSA board is failing at governing the RSA itself. Instead, it is following unreasonable and unfair staff decisions. We need to come to an agreement about the timing of Greene County's withdrawal from RSA. We have been in discussions with contract operators, and we consider what positions we will need to add to our county staff, but we don't have a start date for any of those people. Greene County believes that our withdrawal can be completed by the end of the current fiscal year on June 30th, 2022, if the parties cooperate. We need to come to an agreement with the cost involved in Greene County's withdrawal from RSA. Greene County needs to adopt our own water and sewer rates. Infrastructure costs will impact our rates, as you expect. If the existing RSA water and sewer infrastructure in Greene County will be transferred to Greene County at no cost, then Greene County provide water and sewer service at the same rates the RSA has been charging. Greene County assumed millions of dollars in RSA infrastructure debt about 17 years ago, and we have issued additional water and sewer debt. RSA suggestion that Greene County should have to pay again for water and sewer infrastructure that our taxpayers and ratepayers have already paid for is grossly unfair and unrealistic. The infrastructure is paid for with an annual set-aside of 7.5 cents worth of real estate tax revenue by payments from RSA ratepayers in our county. Greene citizens have already paid for those assets. By their own accounting, RSA's total debt attributable to Greene County is $154,000. We can write RSA a check for that amount. We need to get the transfer of infrastructure settled. We need to come to an agreement about the RSA office on Spotswood Trail in Ruckersville. We can agree to get that building and property appraised. 2/3 of the value can go to RSA, and the building and property can go to Greene County. RSA took bad advice and made bad decisions about the facility fees that have cost Greene County $2 million so far. RSA owes us for that. RSA has about $12 million in the bank. RSA claims that some of that is availability fees from Orange and Madison. Greene County makes no claim on availability fees paid by Orange and Madison residents. RSA budgets have listed monetary contributions to their reserves from Greene County ratepayers for years. The RSA now says that none of the reserves in the bank should belong to Greene. Does that sound fair and reasonable to you? How would you want to be treated if Madison County were in our position? That's how Greene County wants you to treat us. We hope you understand that how you treat Greene County will affect our future. One of your RSA representatives said at the RSA board meeting last week that they really would like to get Greene County's withdrawal from RSA completed. We hope that was a sincere comment. We hope that Madison County and your RSA representatives will complete this withdrawal with us quickly and fairly. And I have a copy of our comments. I'll pass up here.
Thank you. Other public comment? Other public comment? All right. Thank you. We do have a consent agenda. Thank you. We do have a consent agenda. We have minutes from 2:02:22, 2:08:22, and 2:10:22. Also, we have supplemental appropriations from the school board for 359,522, and then a supplemental appropriation from the registrar for 21,4. Questions, comments, thoughts? What do y'all want to do here?
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. No special appearances this afternoon or evening. Lauren, tell us about the redistricting.
Good evening. So really, I'm just here tonight to go over the redistricting process. Everything, as we already have gone over, has been finalized. Oops, there's a typo right there. That's our older letter. So the congressional district that we're in changed to 7. We were formerly in the 5th. Our House of Delegates district is the 62nd, and we used to be in the 30th. And the Senate district's now the 28th, and we were formerly the 24th. So my job in this process is to notify all the registered voters of these changes and then make all the changes in the system that we use in our office called Veris. In order to do so, I need to know whether you all as the Board of Supervisors plan to pursue any changes or if you're content with the lines where they are. So that's really my reason for coming to you tonight. Are there any changes that you anticipate making? If you don't anticipate making any, then starting tomorrow and going forward, I can get that ball rolling and move us forward. But if there are, then we need to work on those next few steps.
All right. Who has questions for Lauren? Comments? Does anybody have any specific changes they would like to make?
Now, Mr. Chairman, I looked at the lines. You know, I asked Lauren to send it to me earlier today, and she did point out, and I checked it out, that it is on GIS. You can do a layer and
Very
and
helpful when we
yeah,
have
it's-
new
yeah,
builds
it's
and
nice.
things like that. Very
So
nice.
it looked reasonable to me. I don't see where I'd suggest any changes.
And this isn't something that can only be done every 10 years. So, if you guys did find a problem, say a year from now, we can still make those changes. This is typically just, everyone in the county is going to get a voter card. So if it's something that we were planning on, it's a better time.
Jonathan, Sean, you all got anything on this?
No, sir.
All right. Probably should have a motion to accept.
That'd be great.
What do y'all want to do here?
Just note the change, Mr. Chairman, to what is shown as Congressional District 10, I believe
Yep.
it's 7.
Yes.
And Mr. Berry will make the corrected change should the board vote to approve it.
Very good. So it's 7th from 5th, House Delegate District 62 from 30th, and 28th from 24th.
Yes. And the new voter cards that will go out, that'll be the only changes on it, is it'll have those numbers updated, but everyone would remain in the same places that they're in.
So Ms. Eames, so the board, we need to include our own precinct lines in with this, right?
We already have that information in our system, so the voter card will show you like your voting precinct on there. And really, the change that I have to make in our system is pretty simple since we don't have line changes. It's really just moving one whole precinct from the 5th, 30th, and 24th to the 10th, 62nd, and 28th. And I'll do that for everyone and kind of submit it for approval.
All right.
But the voter card would have that information. It also has that we're like a at-large locality for you all, and then tells you your voting place and the address of my office.
Do all you people have your voter cards? Do you really? Good Lord.
Come see me, Clay. I'll get you one.
I've never been asked for it. I give them my ID and I go vote. I mean, what the heck?
Yeah, come see me. I'll get you one.
What do we need that for?
So Lauren, can you put your voter ID on this tablet up here like this?
Yeah, it's in the wallet. Go ahead. No, I don't have mine. Good for you people. What do y'all want to do here?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the statewide redistricting plan with the change from what's been presented tonight from Congressional District 10 to 7, otherwise as it is presented, and that we make no changes to the precinct lines within Madison.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
All right. Jonathan, you want to talk about the town of Madison UDA update? Or Sean?
I'll defer to Mr. Gregg. Just the only quick thing I add is, what was put in the last packet. The town had made that request in writing. Town staff met with the attorney of the town. We brought that before the board. We made a recommendation of waiting for comp plan review. That's what the board approved in December. However, Mr. Gregg has sent some correspondence he can speak of.
The concern that we have is that the town is asking us to modify the comprehensive plan about 6 months to 9 months earlier than we had intended. That may not be a big issue, except for the fact that we've got to do advertising and publication to change this UDA application. We sent a letter to them asking them to basically pay the advertising costs and to get back to us. And we have not heard any response to that letter, positive or negative. So until we hear from that, I'm not sure that there's really anything that the county can do.
Please.
But there is urgency now where there was no urgency 2 months ago. It's
I
as
sent
far
the
as what the
letter,
town's saying.
I think I sent the letter immediately after the meeting where we discussed it, and
Their,
no one has been in touch with me.
Right.
their basis for urgency is the, applying for the grant to do the sidewalks, and apparently they've got other things going on that, this has not risen to the top. So when they get back to us, then we can go from there.
Yeah.
The planning commission at their last workshop, if you were here, it looks like they're going to start their comp plan update, maybe September, October, which is great. I see Steve Carpenter back there waving or nodding. It'll be here-
Enthusiastically.
everybody loves the comp plan. We'll see what they send us back, and then we can go from there if we need to take some actions. Anybody else got anything on this one? All right. Madison County Fire Department still tabled. We do have emergency ordinance 2022-1 that's still ongoing, I believe, till March 1st or 2nd.
March 2nd.
All right. Greg Cave, you're up.
Just give you a quick rundown of where we're at. We have been trying to work very hard to get this under control so it doesn't spread. That being said, we feel that we have removed all the colony of the cats that was within that address. Going back looking at all the numbers, and we did trap all the cats within 48 hours from when this started. We continued trapping 6 days after just to see if we would catch any more. Which we did not. Spoke to a couple of the nearby neighbors, the two homeowners of where we were trapping, and they also stated that they haven't seen any more cats. When we first started trapping, we received calls about animals acting unusual. I believe Dr. Gravatt informed you of this from a fox, a raccoon trying to enter someone's house, and also 2 reports of cats foaming at the mouth. Since then, we have not received any more calls. We did test a second cat, which came back negative. Last Wednesday, local health department, Emily Bordon and myself, we followed up at the address just to revisit the site of where the 9 cats are being quarantined for 4 months. We were unable to see anything because all the cats were huddled up inside of their houses. But we do plan to stop by from time to time, check on the cats, make sure they're not showing any unusual behavior or being sick. Also followed up with Emily and Dr. Gravatt about possibly lifting the emergency ordinance. They preferred us to wait until the ordinance actually expires. We're only looking at about another week. So that will just give us a 2-month time frame from when the first cat was tested positive. So their recommendation was just to wait to see if we have any more reports of cats showing any signs of symptoms or any other animal. That's where we're at.
Questions for Greg on this?
Good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, hats off to them. And again, as Greg stated, you have up on the board tonight, your ordinance will remain in effect until March 2nd. Your ordinance, your zoning though, excuse me, your ordinances allows for you to extend if you wish. So we can assess and see where we're at. Your next official meeting, I guess, where you could take action would be on March 2nd if you wanted to extend or not. So we just wanted to give you a little update of where we're at so the public can know as well. We're on it. We've been on it. Public health and safety is our number one. Thank you, Greg, for you and your team.
It seemed like at this point we wait till March 2nd. It looks positive for Madison County that Greg and his team, along with the health department and neighbors, have kind of got this thing under control. Let's see where we're at on March 2nd, and we can go from there.
Okay.
Hopefully, we won't need to extend this.
Hope not.
Exactly. Anybody got questions for Greg, Jonathan, Sean, anybody? Greg, thank you. All right, now let's talk about a rabies clinic.
All right. So been in contact with Dr. Reinhold Pfaff at the Madison Companion Animal Hospital for quite some time now about hosting the rabies clinic. This will allow the citizens to take advantage of getting their animals vaccinated at low cost. It would basically be like a drive-through. I was talking to Brian Gordon about possibly having it at the firehouse, where they would just drive through to get their dog or cat vaccinated, get a certificate, drive right back out. There may be a cost with Dr. Reinhold's services of hosting the event. He will actually handle everything. However, we're offered to help him any way that we can to make this suitable for the citizens. And we were thinking about having it Saturday, April the 2nd, but we just wanted to get your blessing before we move forward.
How much cost do you think is going to be associated, Greg?
You're looking at maybe $250 or so.
Would this be this would be a good place to pull funding from toppings from, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
I mean, we've done the subsidized adoptions, I guess, in the past out of toppings, and we've done some capital items. $250 seems like probably a pretty good deal to get everybody up to date and move on from there. Anybody else got comments on this?
So your toppings fund, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah.
I haven't been around probably for your last 2 years worth of using those funds. I think, does it normally come as the committee meets, you make a recommendation to the board and then you all vote on it?
Oh yeah, it's a very formal.
I mean, but it's not a lot of
committee.
money, so I
We
don't
have
know.
met
who's
several
members.
times.
And it's give and take. It may be a little more. It just depends on how many people show up. But we're only looking at maybe an hour and a half or two.
Good.
So you could look to, who's all on the committee?
I mean, I hate to say this. I think that I really, and Sean Gregg's going to tell me where I'm way wrong. I do not think the toppings committee is going to have any trouble with paying $250 for. So I think we should just go ahead and approve, letting Greg proceed with this and move on from there. Do you have any grievance with that? I mean, it seems like we got a rabies emergency crisis that's taking place. We've obviously got people in Madison that don't have their animals vaccinated for rabies. This is a way to facilitate that and a proactive step. Why would we not go down this path? What do y'all want to do?
So Greg, you said this is going to be for cats and dogs?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
Other animals?
Oh yeah.
No emus.
No.
Gerbils?
I was thinking rabbits. I don't know. Good Lord. All right. What do y'all think? Oh, good. We have a majority. All right. What would y'all like to do? We should do a motion. We should pass this one and get this thing going in the right direction.
Yeah, well, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the rabies clinic sometime in the future, to be details to be worked out by Greg. Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
I just want to make a generalized comment. These motions, just make it up. There's no, I mean, what are they on?
Formal.
No, just make them up. It turns out they work real well. It's amazing. Very odd to me. Jonathan, why don't you start with the Town Historic District?
So some may be aware, some not. The Town Planning Commission has a workshop meeting tonight to possibly consider some revision to the Town of Madison Historic District. It's my understanding that the Historic District has been in place since 1984. Doesn't appear to be too many modifications. I know buildings that we have, such as the War Memorial Building, 414 that you're in right now, are already on their inventory list. So there's an inventory list existing in your packet. Talked to Mr. Sipes today, the county, the town attorney. And he informed me just to, please emphasize to the board, this is just a workshop tonight. Please, any questions or comments they have, we'll certainly take those up. They are not looking to take any action tonight. So This is for informational purposes. Certainly any comments you have, I will carry those directly to town staff to get to the town council. But again, your inventory's there of the existing buildings. I think they're just trying to have something in place similar to other towns. I didn't get the feeling that they were saying, you know, shaker siding or shingles. Of course, it could lead to that. But he did want me to really emphasize that no decisions tonight, because I did tell him this is on our agenda. You're meeting at 7:00. So there is no voting happening at town council tonight. So my recommendation is just, you know, as it states, review and discuss the draft ordinance. If you have any concerns on it, I think the main thing is, you know, these are your buildings. You want to expand or renovate, you should be able to do that.
We did not expand, but renovate, and I can think of 2 times now, and I do not believe that we have asked the town either time. That may put us in a liable position. I'm skeptical of that statement. Reading through the document and the changes that are being made, there's nothing.
It's not.
I was really looking for like earth-shattering stuff, but I don't see it. I talked to Mr. Sipes as well. I would assume the county is probably the majority landowner in the town of Madison at this point. I don't have a whole lot on this. Anybody got anything on this one?
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, I have 2 things. One is I think that if there are fees involved down the road, that the county should be exempt from the fees. So they should waive the fees. I mean, okay, that's number 1. And then the second thing is they are expanding the Historic District Commission by 3 people. Right now, it's their planning commission. They're going to put 3 more people on there. Perhaps the county should have one of those 3 new members should be, I don't know, a planning commission member of ours sitting on that commission. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I don't know.
I can tell you, once they did have something in place one time where they wanted to tell you what color you could paint your house,
Yeah.
what kind of window you had to replace it with. I'm not in favor of that.
Agree.
Yeah.
I'm
So
not in favor of
if
that.
we had one of our own sitting on that, what do they call it, the Historic District Commission, maybe. I don't know.
Agreed. Dustin, you live in town.
I am not a fan of this.
Yeah, there you go.
And part of the reason is like she said, and they are going to tell you what type of windows, because you have to apply for a certificate of appropriateness now. So if you're in the historic district, I don't think I am, but with that being said, that's going to require, you know, and then, you know, the other kicker of that is it says that you can't do repairs without a certificate of appropriateness. And then you go down farther and it says you can. So can you or can't you? You know, if I've got a hole in the side of my house from, let's say, woodpeckers, and I want to go get a board and fix it this weekend, am I allowed to, or do I have to go pay my fee so I can fix it out of my house? I'm not a fan at all.
Pretty
Yeah.
much any improvement they did in town
Yeah.
would be an improvement.
Mm-hmm. And the way I look at it is, okay, so
That was pretty good.
Well, it would be. I mean,
Very, very good.
We shouldn't have to pay to do it, you just be able to do it.
I got you.
yeah.
You
I
can
mean-
quote that, Gracie.
Nobody wants to have legislative bureaucracy kind of slowing down processes, especially for public property or for private property, excuse me. What do you all want to do? Jim, you got comments down there?
Yeah, but you probably don't want to hear them.
Oh, it's okay.
I have to agree with Dustin and Charlotte. I'm philosophically opposed to any historic districts or designations, simply because it's ultimately a usurpation of private property rights in some degree or another. And what's going on with the town, I don't know the details, but I just think it's something that we need to be extremely careful with, so it doesn't end up causing county taxpayers more money for restricted renovations or whatnot. So that's my biggest concern with this.
All right, let's go. Cardi and I serve on as liaisons to the town council. I did talk to Maynard Sipes earlier today as I was walking into this building, and he said that they're not adding any buildings from 1985. Would this board want to make a motion or a statement or something to the town in relation to this?
He told you they weren't adding any
No,
structures?
No structures added.
That's not what I read.
No.
That is
I saw.
I agree.
Barry's Grill.
That's correct. Y'all want to make some kind of statement or motion pointing the county's or the board's direction to the town?
Is this one of those makeup motions?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, I request that we make a motion to request that the town does not move forward with this historic district
Update or the,
update.
all right.
Second,
Motion made and seconded.
good motion.
All right, yeah. Further discussion. Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. There you go. Jonathan,
Thank you.
they did say they've been working on it for 2 years or something, but that's just what it is. All right, moving on. Accessory dwelling unit. Cardi?
Yeah. So accessory dwelling unit, Ligon brought this up, I don't know, a couple of months ago, but I'm not smart enough to understand some stuff like this until I see a practical application. And so in the last 3 weeks, I mainly wanted to bring this up to the board's attention and to have us assess whether we feel it's worthy of passing along to the planning commission. But in the last 3 weeks, I've had 2 people call me. One gentleman has 5.97, I wrote it, 5.12 acres up in Criglersville. And this other gentleman has 4.989 acres. The guy that has the 4.989 wants to move his grandmother up here, wants to build a small place on his property, which is zoned A1, by the way, and move his grandmother up. The guy in Criglersville is elderly. He wants to build a small house and have his daughter move in so she can be there and take care of him. So we've got an aging in place issue, and then you could have an elderly person like that have a little rental income too. So with this though, if we pursued looking at this, you wouldn't be able to subdivide this property, because you got to have 3 acres for in A1. So if the people that had the 4.9 and the 5.12, they couldn't later, if they built this structure, they couldn't later on subdivide it and sell it because now that's not legal. Plus, this would all be by special use permit, I'm thinking. Of course, that's if we turn over the planning commission. I have a feeling they will do the same thing. But I checked. I also talked to a person that lives in Greene County. Too bad they already left. But they had something along this line. And one of the issues over there, a particular instance, was this elderly gentleman needed somebody to take care of him in his old age. They allowed him to bring a trailer in and put it on his property. And then upon his death, that trailer will have to be removed. So there's many, many conditions that one could put on something like this. But I personally feel like it's worth exploring. As we all sat here interviewing the planning commission applicants, we asked them, I wrote it down, we said, what can we do to increase affordable housing in this county? And then it dawned on me when I got those calls from those two people in Madison. It's like, oh, well, this is possibly something we should discuss. So I wanted to bring it up to the board and see if maybe we want to pass this along to the planning commission to further vet it or not.
Essentially, what you're proposing is 3 acres to 5.9 acres in A1 would be special use permit for this accessory dwelling. Then you've got 10 to 19.9 for C1
Correct.
As a special use permit. Anything over those acreages, it would be a by right deal, wouldn't it?
Correct.
So
That is right.
I don't know. I'm not as much on the trailers, but in the grand scheme of things, the comment about affordable housing seems to make sense to me a whole lot, and then also the ability to have caregivers or something of that nature close by. That seems like a winner too. Sean Gregg.
Mr. Chairman, I'm actually dealing with this in an adjoining county. The issue that you run into is banks don't know what to do with it. The significance of that is if anybody is going to sell these properties, they have a difficult time. In fact, the one I'm dealing with is on its third appraiser because the appraisers are indicating that they cannot put a value on these accessory dwellings, even though they're functionally houses. I just mentioned that because we want to make sure that anybody who goes through this process is aware of the fact that they may have some difficulty financing. But again, that's something that if you refer it to the planning commission, that the planning commission can examine.
Yeah, and oh, I'm sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
please.
And if it did go full cycle, Sean, then it would be incumbent upon us to make sure that this property owner knows you will not be able to divide this property and sell that other house fee simple.
Correct.
Yeah,
So,
So-
and it would be, if there is anything approved, just say, this property cannot be subdivided.
right.
As a term and condition.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it can't anyway based on the acreages. So that I don't understand why they can't appraise them. I don't understand that exactly, but please. The financing I understand, the appraising I don't understand.
Well, remember that most of the appraising work is done for the financing.
Yes,
issues.
understood.
And since that's the case, appraisers don't really know a value to put on these things because if you build a house that was on its own lot would be worth $150,000. If it's attached to another property, it's probably worth $80,000, $90,000, or it could be $140,000 depending on where it is. That's the problem the appraisers have. They don't have, at least in our immediate area, there are no comps for them to use for this sort of thing. And you don't want homeowners to kind of go down this primrose path and then they say, well, the county should have told me about that. And some of that's governmental paternalism. And, we just make sure that we tell people, we're not guaranteeing anything with this.
So Mr. Gregg, are there any insurance issues involved?
No.
Okay.
I
think so.
I'm not an insurance agent,
Right,
but I'd be
right.
very surprised. Well, in fact, I know that there aren't because I happen to own one of these gems.
Mhm.
And I can tell you I've not had insurance issues.
Okay. So how's the sale going?
I'm on my fourth appraisal.
There you go.
So folks, so we could either, stop it right here, recommend approval to recommend that we send it to the planning commission, or we can think about it and talk about it again later if you need more time to.
Mhm.
What do y'all think down there?
Well, I'm go ahead, Dustin. No, in principle, I think it's something that we need to look at because land affordability is such a big issue in the county, particularly for folks that have been here. And I think that we ought to give landowners some flexibility with limited acreage so that they could add affordable housing. Now, aside from some of the concerns, we want to make sure it wouldn't get out of control. But I would think that the planning commission, this is something that's worthy of their research and consideration.
Dustin?
Yeah, I agree. Especially taking care of your parents or a loved one, or even if you had a special needs child that would need to be around. I think this is a great way to serve the community in that way.
That's all.
Well, I'm in favor of looking into it and letting the planning commission take a look at it. I think it's needed
All right.
if it's controlled.
I'm with you. Probably need to do a motion for this one.
All right. Well, I move that we task the planning commission with looking into the accessory dwelling units ordinance.
Second.
Is that with the recommendation coming from them?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Just clarifying.
Okay.
Other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. There you go. Steve. All right. Madison County zoning ordinance 4-8 private roads. We have tasked the planning commission with looking into this. Mr. Gregg's given us some documentation. Mr. Gregg, please.
Very briefly, and I just wanted the board to have the same documents that I plan on giving to the planning commission at their next meeting. I will give Mr. Carpenter, who is still in the audience, a copy tonight. One of the concerns with this, and we've had some conversations with people, is we don't want to start expanding the number of people on bad roads. And one way, and I don't know, I wasn't there whenever they passed this particular ordinance, but I think part of the thought was if there are only 4 people on the private road, the neighbors will work it out among themselves. If you determine to expand that, then if you have 6 people, 8 people, 10 people, whatever the number is, the more people you have, the less likely you are to achieve consensus. And there are a couple of ways that can be handled. One, for example, if you're subdividing land, you do a road maintenance declaration where there's only one owner. So it's not really an agreement, it's just a declaration, and it runs with the properties. What I have provided you in the packet with regard to ways to try to maintain a certain level of quality for the roads, I have given you a copy of Orange County's road ordinance, which I think might be helpful. And I have also given you several copies of other localities, some of which are outside the Commonwealth of Virginia, how they have addressed the issue. I bring these to your attention because the Planning Commission is going to be studying this issue. My understanding as to what you have charged them with looking into is either relaxing, expanding, or somehow modifying the 4 dwellings on one road rule. And then the question is, what does that look like? And there are several ways you can go. One of which is, and again, this is more Planning Commission fodder than for you currently, so it may be a little premature, but one idea is if you impose quality in terms of the construction of these roads and they're held to it, that makes it a little easier to expand the number of dwellings that are on a road, because you don't have the concern you might have with fire and rescue being able to access people. So it's some things to think about. Simply wanted the board to have these. And I know that the Planning Commission is going to be reviewing these matters in the next several weeks. Thanks.
All right. Comments on this? The Planning Commission briefly talked about it the other night. Fay Utz's committee, I think, is running this show. We kind of got going down the path of family subdivisions. I don't know if that was the intent of the board. Before the Planning Commission to really go dive all the way into, it would seem like that some of the family subdivision issues that are been in the past may be solved by the direction of allowing more accesses per, or lot accesses per private road. I kind of think that we're talking about private roads, not family subdivision, and go from there. Sound about right? Or anybody got comments on this one? Please.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I was there the other night at the Planning Commission workshop as well, and what I heard, and Steve, you can weigh. I heard they are going to be considering stuff like length of the driveway, perhaps an exemption for a family division, existence of a road maintenance agreement, density, safety, common sense exception. They were going to review other county ordinances, creation of a homeowners association, like, could take care of it. And I looked up some things that came under the planned unit development, which is a HOA, just with a different name. So that's some of the issues that the planning commission is going to be running to ground, and I'm sure there will be plenty others.
Road maintenance agreement seems to be a common theme and something that would be a necessity as part of this. And it looks like they are going to go on that path.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else got anything on this one? All right, moving on. Jonathan, tell us about the solar application that was in front of us.
Several run throughs. I can start at 15 if you want me to continue on. I
Yeah,
can
just
do
keep
so.
rolling. Yeah.
So first up, solar application. So the applicant has withdrawn their application. They have indicated they will potentially come back at a later date when they're ready. I know some of that they're working on maybe some agreements, but they have officially withdrawn. So want to give proper notification to the board. Next item, RFP for engineering services. So this is not committing county dollars. This allows for professional engineering services. So these would be engineering service agreements. So more of, you would have someone under contract. If you need to use services, you would shop out, get a scope of work from several you may retain. It kind of helps you move forward with projects and not take everyone out for RFP. That went live on February 15th, closes on March 17th. This isn't a traditional like an IFB where you're opening and awarded lowest bid.
Keep going.
Okay. Check on that later. But this is one that we will look at all the proposals. We'll form a selection committee, and then we'll narrow it down to say 4 or 5 companies to interview, and then try to narrow it down to maybe 2, maybe 3 to bring to the board for approval. I've seen this work at another locality. You may have some specialties. Some folks may just put forth a proposal for geotech work. Some may put forth, we've got a closed landfill, for example. So there are engineering services that specialize in closed landfill. CHA is one of them that we use existing now for that purpose. So just more of an update for the board that finally went live and closes on March 17th.
Chris Ortelli last night at the PRA meeting asked about this, and you basically went down the same path that he was asking about. Your selection committee, you'll narrow the scope past March 17th and come up with some pre-qualified engineering firms.
Yeah, so traditionally you have some kind of like a scoring matrix, so to kind of narrow it down, and then you bring people in. You tell them, look, you got a half hour, maybe an hour tops. You don't let them go on, and then you come back and collectively as a group and narrow it down. Then you bring a recommendation to the board of supervisors for consideration for approval.
They're going to present to us.
No, they would present to your selection committee, and then that recommendation from committee would come to me, to you. Certainly the proposals, if we get it narrowed down, if you'd like to see them, we can do that. Again, the advantage of this, if you want to move on to things, say whether it's an EMS station you want to do, or if it's some additional work at the landfill, you already have engineering firm service agreements locked down in place. So it's really trying to bring this, I guess you could say, this mechanism or approach to Madison County that other localities are using to help you in the future. So selection committee will bring a recommendation to me. I will bring a recommendation to the board.
Very good. Other questions on this? Please keep going, Jonathan.
All right. VDOT updates. Joe may correct me on one. I had a couple roads. I've been out. First one is Turner Drive. VDOT went out and did some work. I will say, although they're not here on a regular basis, they have been very responsive in emails. I believe they're dealing directly with Mr. Garr out of the office here, which speeds up response. So that's a good thing. So I know they've done some maintenance on Turner Drive. They've done some maintenance on out Duet or Whippoorwill area. I do not have confirmation yet of Gar Road. I need to drive that road. But I did send that. I believe that's one, Mr. Jewett, you had mentioned as well. So I'll get a follow-up. I do not have a follow-up on Gar.
Yeah, Gar Mountain. Lord, it's always bad.
Yeah.
I drive over it all the time. It's always terrible. It's
Make
just
sure
it's
it
part of
get
it.
some attention. But
Fall
yeah.
off the side
Yeah,
of the mountain.
don't do that.
So that's the update. And then they will look, they being VDOT, look to come to you sometime in the spring with the 6-year secondary road plan. They asked, did you want the presentation and the public hearing the same night? I said, no, you need to separate it because traditionally they've came to this body in the past. They inform you what's on the current plan. Is there anything you want to add, delete, and then that sets them up for the public hearing. So I just advise keep the same order as they've always done.
And they need to come.
Oh, they're coming.
They need to come.
Yeah, they're going to come and
None of this
present that.
virtual.
That will not be
No,
me.
We're not doing that.
So Clay, are you gonna forgive your road once again?
My road's been off for 7 years now. It's not going back on.
The last one, Mr. Chairman, did get a request from Tour de Madison through Mr. Penholler. They have I forget which anniversary this is, but Tour de Madison's been going on for some time in Madison. The event will be held on March 21st. That is a Saturday. I have signed off as well as the sheriff. This is just a traditional. They take care of their traffic signs and so forth that are required to alert the public. So I believe they're splitting the groups up to try to keep from jambling up at intersections. But this goes on every year.
It's May 21st.
May 21st. Yes, sir.
All right.
May 21st.
Other information and correspondence? All right. Public comment. Public comment. Public comment.
Hello?
So how come you and Jim didn't answer my questions about inflation and the cost of living and how that might possibly affect the budget process, in particular with the schools? I mean, I just want to know you guys recognize what's going on.
Absolutely. Understood. Jim, you got comments on this?
Oh, I can assure Mr. May that that's in the forefront of my mind during the budget process. The school's budget does concern me, even though they're not asking for more money. Their budget's going up, 10+%. And I know that's coming from external funding, but what happens if that external funding disappears down the road and then they ask us to, I've kind of figured it out roughly. We might have to raise property taxes 20 cents. So those are things in the back of my mind, and those are questions that I'm going to have. And then as we've been going through the budget process, fortunately, many of the departments are flat or even decline or have even decreased their request. So I think it's in everybody's, I think most people are conscious of the fact that this inflationary period is something that's going to be a big challenge with our budget because the inflation is not going to go away anytime soon. You know, from my experience in the 1970s, like most of us, inflation doesn't stop until you have a severe economic slowdown, and that comes with its own problems. And to answer about the farming, yes, prices are up. Fertilizer has gone up 100% in the last 12 months. My fuel prices went up almost 90% last year.
Fertilizer made?
Anhydrous, natural gas. A lot of the phosphorus is imported from China. They've cut off exports. We have had a declining amount of production here in Florida in the United States. Potash, the other major ingredient, usually comes out of Canada. And of course, the big factor in everything we do is the cost of transportation, higher fuel costs, and that's creating an upward pressure on everything. So to answer your question, yes, inflation definitely is on my mind, both in my business and also here in the county's business. Hope that puts your mind at ease.
And at the food line. Nick, what did you want?
But I'd like the board to give, at least give some passing thought to the possibility of traffic circles at Hoover Road and 29 and by McDonald's.
Hoover and 29.
Yeah.
Where is that?
That's where, I think it's Fishback Road on the other side.
No.
Oh, you mean Hebron?
No, Hebron.
Hebron Valley?
No, from the-
He's thinking Fishback.
Oh, Fishback in 29?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Roundabout, Fishback,
And where
perhaps.
McDonald's. They're both fairly complex intersections.
Well, the Greene County, they looked at Greene County at Ruckersville and doing it. And they stopped that because they said there was far too much traffic on 29 for a traffic circle. Just wasn't going to be feasible. So I can't imagine they'd put one at Fishback or McDonald's with the flow. I mean, it's 50-some thousand cars. It's 50-some thousand cars that go across 29 a day.
It's a tractor trailer.
I just can't see that ever happening.
No, truck trailers are fine on traffic. You just drag them right across. It's no big deal. No big deal at all. It's very easy. Livingston, do you have?
Kevin McCaney.
Yeah.
So you didn't think that Sean's documents are in the handout package? How can we get the samples of what makes for a quality road, etc.? Thanks. Tracy said she's going to talk to Jonathan about that and possibly she chimed in, but anyway, it's a public comment.
Yeah.
Ask them in the chat section to email me and I will send it to them. Please.
Very good. All right. Other public comment? How many people we got watching there, Livingston? Well, we're doing good
Wow.
today.
How many?
5. That's 4 more than normal. All right. Any other public comment? We do have a closed session this evening. Thank y'all.
And Mr. Chairman, I move that the board convene in a closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A3 for discussion or consideration of the acquisition of real property for public use, for public purpose, or for the disposition of publicly held real property where discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Thank y'all.
This conference is no longer being recorded.